Boris Johnson has outright rejected any possibility of the UK compromising with the EU on a post-Brexit free trade agreement as tensions escalate between the two sides ahead of the start of crunch talks next week. Negotiations will begin on Monday, with the EU so far insisting the Prime Minister will have to make compromises if he is to secure the deal he wants before the end of the transition period in December. But Mr. Johnson is continuing to stand firm and is refusing to back down. When asked if he accepts he'll have to make some compromises with the EU during these negotiations, the Prime Minister simply replied, "No." He told Sky News, "We want a great free trade deal, we're very optimistic and we want a great relationship with our we buy huge quantities of their stuff, they buy huge quantities of our stuff, there's a big chance now, not just to maintain what we already have, but to do more trade together." The UK government has threatened to walk away from free trade agreement talks with Brussels in June unless a broad outline of a deal has been agreed. Britain has outlined its plan for negotiations and has set a deadline for progress amid a deep division between the two sides over several issues including fishing, state subsidies and standards. Brexiteer Peter Bone challenged Michael Gove in the Commons following his excellent statement outlining the UK's red lines ahead of the Brexit trade talks with the Tory Brexiteer was quick to point out he needed reassurances that the government's red lines will not change should the EU refuse to stick to some of the principles presented by the British team in the upcoming Brexit trade talks. Mr. Bone said, "What an excellent statement from the Secretary of State outlining our principles. But could he give me the assurance that the principles will not change when the EU says no to something? Because over the last few years I've listened to excellent speeches from that dispatch box only to find out that our principles changed when the EU said no to something."